Oh, I think we got this. Hit that music. Me. ENT Hooligans. I am your host, Baby Moy, alongside Big Ness and Lil Crystal. Come on, guys, what's up? Join the party. It's Thursday, leading you into Friday, the weekend.
Yo, happy Thursday, everybody. Woo! Hope my fellow Jerseyans are enjoying this tropical breeze and sunshine. Yeah.
We are on, live, locked, loaded, ready to go.
Woo!
We figured things out, y'all. You know, I could just... So I'm over here, right, trying to figure out what is going on with YouTube, and I solved the puzzle, and I solved this mystery. But I'm over here, doing my thing, and I could just picture the panel as they're muted, and they're listening to me just go along, chug along. You know, patience is key.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Happy
Absolutely.
Thursday,
With anything,
guys.
patience is definitely key.
I enjoy doing this type of stuff.
So,
Welcome to our crazy, wacky world.
yeah.
So what was happening is, for whatever reason, you know how software sometimes changes things on you and it's unbeknownst? So the encoders, one of the resolutions was too high. So it would make the stream lag. So I fixed that, I downgraded, and we're good to go. The settings are as I would normally have them. So now the stream is not falling behind anymore.
Right.
And yeah, so we're good to go here. With that said, folks, let's get shout-outs out of the way before I tell you guys what to do with the channel. So first off, I want to send a shout-out to, obviously, my mom, my dad, and shout-outs to anyone out there who has a birthday today. I want to send a shout-out to all the Anthonys listening to us. Chris, a shout-out to you. Nancy, a shout-out to you. Am I missing anybody? Oh yes, Joe Cronin. Shout out to you, Joe Cronin. Liam, shout out to you, Liam. Dan Romero, shout out to you, buddy. Keep doing your thing with your music. Keep doing your thing with your radio station. Giving you a shout out, buddy. Shout out to Kayla. What's going on? Thank you so much for your subscription and for your dedication and love to the channel. And thank you to everybody else on here who is currently watching or are listening to us. Whether you're catching us live, whether you're catching us on the VOD, it doesn't matter as long as you catch us. Thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell, ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. That way you are notified as to everything that we are doing when we upload something, when we stream something, when we sleep, when we order a pizza, when we're eating, when we're on the toilet. Okay, maybe not when we're on the toilet, but you get the point. Subscribe and smash that button and comment down below. And if you guys want pleasure for your ears, follow our SoundCloud accounts. You could find them on the description below as well. SoundCloud, my SoundCloud, SoundCloud, his SoundCloud, SoundCloud, her SoundCloud, soon to be, hopefully. And also you can follow our social media pages at Twitter/ENT Hooligans and Facebook/ENT Hooligans. The description are all down below. And you can also follow my personal Twitter page, which again, down below. A lot of things are down below, and what we're going to discuss today is WWE getting hit down below.
Hey!
We're going to be talking about their practices and how evil and criminal they are.
Yes. Keyword is criminal. Criminal. Criminal.
I like that song, actually. But before we get into that, I have a question
Go ahead.
Yes.
for Ness and you. Tell
Yes.
me more about these meatball sandwiches that y'all school serve. Because our school
Oh yeah,
wasn't
we
cool
used
like
to get
that.
meatball sandwiches for lunch in high school. They were the bomb.
Seriously?
Yes.
Sometimes they put cheese on it, sometimes they wouldn't, but either way, it was delicious.
Nice. Our school wasn't cool like that.
Yeah.
Not at all. For those of you that are wondering and that are going, what are y'all talking about? We were discussing cafeteria food off of air. Off of
Yes,
air?
yes,
Off
yes.
air?
Off air. Before we came on, we were talking about cafeteria food. Yeah.
Off of air.
Yes. Off of air.
Off of air. Off of air. I don't think that's grammatically correct. I believe it's off air.
It's not. And I couldn't, for some reason, get that out of my head.
Are you guys feeling these beds?
I don't know.
Yes, indeed. I love it.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
The first one I was thinking, did Dre produce that? Because that sounded like a Dre beat.
Hey.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Oh.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, what's going on in the world today? Oh. What's going on in
Fighting, shooting, looting, it's okay.
What's going on in
Let it go,
WWE
let
today?
it roll.
Well, this is what's
The
going on.
question or the better question is, what isn't going on?
Exactly.
Well, there seems to be a mass exodus taking place. Sasha Banks is getting ready to lawyer up.
Da-da-da-dun-dun.
Thank you so much.
Da-da-da-dun-dun.
And there's a lot of unhappy people who are, for lack of a better term, detained. And they want out of their contracts. And if there's one word that comes to mind for that reasoning, it's creativity and differences in opinion. Now let's start with Sasha. And to elaborate on Sasha, here we have Lil Crystal. She's as a woman, I think she could give the best insight as towards maybe what Sasha might be going through mentally. She could even, if she knows the story well enough, she could even fill us in on why this is taking place with Sasha in the first place. And she could even elaborate on, even more so than what she already has on this show, she could elaborate more on treatment of women past and present. And why it may seem as though WWE glorifies women in a very patronizing way. So take it away.
Take it away, yes.
So basically, and if I'm missing anything, feel free to interrupt me and kind of be like, hey, you missed some.
You got it.
Thank you. Okay, so basically what happened with Sasha was Sasha Banks and Bayley were the first women's tag team to win this women's tag team championship. Well, they were promised that they were going to keep this women's tag team championship after WrestleMania. WrestleMania comes along and they really stole the show, I think, but they give it to the Iconics.
I beg to differ on that. I think Brian and Kofi stole the show, but
I agree. Yeah. So anyways, they give it to this supposed tag team called the Iconics, and I'll get to them later. So Sasha decides to walk out and just say, you know what? I'm done. Because you guys promised me and Bayley that we were going to get these tag team championships, and we didn't have them. Therefore, I'm leaving because I feel like you're not that, I feel like we don't even have a voice. What's the point of us even mentioning anything to you? That's how I feel. I feel like Sasha and Bayley, they have been ignored. And their talent is basically for nothing.
Well, let's concentrate more on Sasha than the Bayley aspect of this. Because Bayley obviously is still on TV. She's still doing her thing. Yes. But Sasha.
Yes. Okay. I feel like Sasha is just being completely disrespected as a woman. Her voice doesn't even matter. It's like, well, does she even have one? She walked out. And good for her that she lawyered up, because they...
About to.
About to. Vince basically told her, not told her, but his goons decided, you know what? We'll give her another shot at this. Well, she didn't want another shot. She just wanted to be heard. And they're not even listening to her.
So would you say that Vince McMahon's attempt to give her another shot was tone deaf on his part?
Oh, completely. Totally. He was like, oh, I just broke a promise to them, but that's okay. You know, it's all about the money. I'll just give her more money.
You know, for a while, Sasha Banks and Bayley have been voicing their opinions in regards to there being a tag team championship for the women, which, you know, when I say for a while, I really mean for a while, like a year and a half, give or take. They've been at this. And finally, you know, these things were put into play for them. And they were also under the assumption that, okay, you guys are going to retain past WrestleMania. Because, first of all, from a booking perspective, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you have a first ever anything. You wanted to kind of hold the fort down for a little bit. You know, you wanted to have a nice,
right?
You know,
nice run,
but given the short tenure with this, it makes those titles, and what it says to me is the women's division as a whole, not just a tag team and not just from a belt perspective, is a joke.
It is. It's a big joke.
Well, how many times have we on here have lamented about the hypocrisy of this whole women's revolution nonsense that they're trying to peddle?
Yeah,
you know, and
it's really sad.
And
how contradictory it's been.
And they throw it in your face, and they throw it in your face. Keep on going. First ever women's this, women's that. First ever women to main event WrestleMania. Well, Becky won. She won both belts. But guess what's happening now because of it? They've had her come out there. She's cutting the same promo week in and week out. So, you know, it's like Vince McMahon and his company, it's like they're saying, okay, now you guys got what y'all wanted, but now we're going to completely piss all over it, and that way I'm proving to you that what you wanted ain't gonna work. When it couldn't be any further from the truth, because all you have to do is take the shackles off.
Yep.
I can give you two great examples of them pissing all over their so-called women's revolution propaganda. Asuka winning the Royal Rumble, which they pissed all over that by having Ronda Rousey's debut show up there and do whatever she did. That's number one. No, that's number two. Number one, holding events in Saudi Arabia.
Ooh. Now that's a deep one, man. And you know what? I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because let's look at the timetable here. We have the first ever all women's pay-per-view.
Royal Rumble. Pay-per-view.
In, what was it? October. Not even a week, but 6 days later, they're in Saudi Arabia.
6 days later.
No, wasn't it 5? Because it was Friday.
5.
No, sorry.
5 days later.
Either way, that is just.
And why is Saudi Arabia a big deal? Why do we mention it? Because they don't allow women athletes.
Nope.
And how many
they really don't allow women anything?
And how many references? That's for another podcast. But how many references were made of that women's pay-per-view after it was all said and done?
None that I can recall.
If I may say one, I'm doing them a favor, because all I heard about was, the event on Friday. Even though they didn't mention where it was taking place, they were still publicizing it. They were still advertising it. And no, I don't want to sound like Sean. They were still publicizing, advertising. They were still. Oh.
Yeah. Crown jewel.
crown jewel, crown jewel, crown jewel,
Crown jewel, crown jewel, crown jewel. It was like, okay, so
There was no advertising. There was no prophesizing. There was no.
you know, as a woman, to me, it's just barbaric to see. It's this whole women's evolution is just a joke now. It's just
they've turned it into.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Because they have not carried out the so-called revolution. Was it revolution or
No.
evolution?
Revolution.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. They haven't lived up to that. It's all basically been smoke and mirrors.
Here's the thing. All Sasha wants to do is wrestle.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all.
That's it. That's all she wants. Yep.
Well, rumor is, I've heard through the grapevine that there's another company on the verge of launching that she can attend. That she can go there.
Isn't that what this Exodus is based on?
Yes, but
Let
it's
me-
just like.
let me
it's
ask you
just like-
something.
It's
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just like JR said, it was either JR or Cody Rhodes, I can't remember which one it was who said this. He said you can't have too many people from a company because then you'll have the same problem that WWE has.
That was Cody.
Oh, was it Cody?
Yeah.
Okay. You'd have the same booking problem.
And that problem being you got a whole lot of people that you're doing nothing with.
Exactly, and they don't want that.
That's just kind of a
They want
waste.
everyone to have something to do, whether it's on the same card or a different
Well-
card. They still want.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I think what
They want everybody to be
AEW
showcased,
I think
yes.
what AEW could also do though, if they find themselves in a position where okay, they're going to be airing on a week-to-week basis, and if they find themselves in a spot where on any given Tuesday they can't showcase everyone, that could actually work in their favor. And here's how. Let's say, for example, Kenny Omega is one of the must-see personnels on there from a week-to-week basis. Okay?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And let's say for whatever reason, okay, everything is booked for this Tuesday. Man, we can't feature any more people. How can that create intrigue? Well, first of all, the viewer is left going, "Oh man, we didn't get Kenny Omega this week. What happened?"
Yeah.
But how do you recompensate? Everybody else was showcased, or mostly everybody else was showcased. What I'm trying to say here is, if you showcase people on a bi-weekly basis, acts will not get stale either.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. But I think he was talking about the two Double or Nothing or the other one that's gonna happen in July.
No, he
I think
was
that's-
he was talking as a whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can we get back to the women's
Yeah,
thing?
go ahead.
Because
Go ahead. Yeah.
now, the lovely Iconics. That's what they sound like. I'm not even joking. They talk like this.
Yeesh.
Are bubblegum pop. That's what they remind me of.
Oh, I should
Bubblegum
pop.
pop in your face.
I should change the title of this podcast.
Bubblegum pop. Hey.
Yes.
Hey,
They remind me of bubblegum pop. They're very generic. They can't even cut a promo.
very generic, very, very blonde, ditzy like.
Yes.
Just the British version, right? Yeah.
Oh my God, I love you, and we're the WWE Iconics. And then they scream. They scream.
Do the scream.
No, because
Come on.
we're the WWE Women's. Wait for it because they have to say it at the same time. Tag Team Champions.
I need a
Bow cutsy, bow cutsy.
Pretty much. They're bubblegum bubblegum pop. That's what they are.
my gosh.
They're bubblegum pop. They're in your face, bubblegum pop, and it's just.
Oh
sick.
gosh, I'm trying to drink my.
That's so annoying.
I'm trying to drink my water.
Disgusting. It's so disgusting and sickening. And get off my TV. I don't ever want to see you guys again.
It's annoying.
They were even horrible at NXT. Okay. They were just so bad. And
I have the perfect tag team match for WrestleMania. Yeah, the Iconics versus
Fellas. That's exactly what I was thinking. Get out of here.
You know, we're gonna come into this match, and I think that me and my sister Bree, we're gonna win. And
are you asking us or are you telling us?
No. That's where you're wrong. We're going to win because we're iconic. You guys
That
take
impression
over,
in and of
please.
itself is iconic.
anyway. Hold on a second, man.
The point that our female colleague there was trying to make is that women wrestlers are being reduced to just generic, stereotypical gimmicks. That ain't right.
Either that, or they're not being used at all. To any capacity.
It's either one or the other. Yeah.
To any capacity whatsoever. You know, and if they do see in-ring, they're out there for like not even 5 minutes.
10 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes, yeah, tops.
Not even
as in a filler match.
Yeah. You know. Oh, but they have Becky with both titles, and they have this program with Charlotte. And answer me this.
Yes, they do.
Answer me this. Can you make sense out of any of the stories happening in WWE right now?
No, not at all. Not
Can
at all.
you make sense out of Vince McMahon holding wrestlers back from finding other places to work? He hands out loads and loads of money, wants you to sign a contract for 3 to 5 years in which you're going to be making millions, only to either A, humiliate you on air, or B, to not have you on air at all.
It's a typical authoritarian tactic.
All because he doesn't want you to sign over to any other company.
And heaven forbid you get injured.
And you know what? You know what he's telling me? You know what he's telling me by doing this? He's telling me that he knows that if these guys go elsewhere, they're catching fire.
They're gonna flourish.
Case in point,
They're going to flourish.
Case in point, Dean Ambrose. Let me tell you guys something. Dean Ambrose or John Moxley, he is with the video that he uploaded immediately after his contract expired with WWE. With the video that he uploaded, just on Twitter alone, listen to this. Just on Twitter alone, as of yesterday, I haven't checked the numbers today, but as of yesterday around, I would say 11 p.m., has had over 2 million views, which told me that one person alone, one person alone, okay, listen, one person alone in a 1 minute and in a 1 minute and 38-second video has caught more ratings than a 3-hour Monday Night Raw and a 2-hour SmackDown.
Yikes.
And that's just counting Twitter. That's not even counting YouTube.
Wow.
Dang.
That's just sad.
Wow.
And he wasn't even doing any type of like actual going up to the mic and talking, promo work.
No.
it was just a video.
Yeah. Which was the other brilliant part of this video. No promo at all. It was just him running from, an asylum, which is obviously jail for WWE. There's a dog chasing after him. The dog is symbolism of the Hounds of Justice, which is what the Shield is known for. Or it could have been the big dog, Roman Reigns. And this guy's running from all that.
So you're telling me that video, right, is getting more views on the internet than 2 cable network television shows?
Yes. But more importantly to that, one man.
Yes, I understand that.
One man.
No. Listen, you have to emphasize that because this goes with what I said earlier. Being afraid of a talent exploding outside of your confines, but yet you don't want them to sign elsewhere because you are afraid of that, and yet you won't do anything at all to make them feel happy or anything at all to make them feel at home.
And it's just only
because
one
this is all
man.
about, essentially this is all about control. He doesn't want to lose control.
Right, but you know what he is?
That's essentially what this is
look at what's happening. He is losing control because look at what happened. Look at what happened with Sasha.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's lawyering up. That's losing control. And he knows he's losing control. That's why he's in this mindset of throwing all this money around.
You think he can buy his way
But
out
you
of
know
things,
what? The Khan family.
Can't do it, brother.
From what?
It's a new day. Today's a new day, yo. There's a new sheriff in town, Vinnie Mac.
The Khan family, who is
the Khan family,
who owns AEW. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
They own it.
Yeah.
Okay. They have more money than he does.
Yeah.
And you don't see
They own AEW. They own Jacksonville Jaguars. They own the soccer team. They got a couple other businesses that you know.
Well, there's not a lot of wrestlers who are getting $100,000 contracts in that company either. They're not throwing money around like that because they don't need to. Am I right?
No, you're actually right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but they are throwing around.
Well, they are throwing around good
throwing
money.
Well, they are, but
throwing around good money, but they're also throwing around
is,
health insurance. They're also throwing around the ability for them to showcase themselves,
and also rest periods.
And rest periods, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, they don't need to throw money around to keep their wrestlers.
Well, listen. Obviously, the other big player here in the United States will be AEW. Or shall I already say, is AEW. Okay?
Yes.
But even if you're not employed by AEW, even if you're on the indie scene, you're still getting great benefits off of that. You know, they pay a lot of your expenses for you now if you're an indie wrestler. You know,
really?
Yeah, your plane tickets, your rentals, all of that is covered.
So let's stop and really think about that for a second. Here you have underground companies paying for their wrestlers' travel expenses, car rentals, etc., and a multi-billion-dollar mainstream wrestling company can't or just won't do that for their employees.
Yes.
They only do it for the top tier guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about Leo Rush. This is a good transition here. Now, Leo Rush had a sit down with Sean Rossap. Shout out to Fightful. What's up, guys? And they basically covered, because Leo Rush did reach out to Fightful because he felt as if though some of the things that were being covered were not necessarily wrong, but a little bit skewed. So he kind of wanted to set the record, if you may. And he sat down with Sean, and obviously I know a lot of you guys know the story of supposedly him being in very deep and hot water because he wouldn't follow quote unquote backstage etiquette in terms of, see, if you're a rookie, if you're the new guy in town, you're supposed to be waiting in gorilla position, waiting for other wrestlers to come in after their matches, and you are to carry coolers and serve their waters. And you are also supposed to carry these duties and responsibilities even when it comes to the hotel check-ins.
What?
Even at the hotels. Now, what Lio Rush, one of the things that he said to Sean, which really stood out to me, was, look at this, he said. How does it look when a bystander is looking at me doing these jobs for my employees? I'm carrying coolers, I'm serving water, but I'm a black man.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Not a good look.
No, because you know what it looks like? It looks like, I hate to say it, but it looks like slavery.
Yes.
White man wants the black man to serve water coolers to people. That's what it looks like. It's not a good look.
You know,
we all know Vince's track record as it pertains to race.
Yeah, he's very racist.
I mean, anybody who's been watching WWE for the past 10, 15, 20 years, you know. It's well documented. I mean,
yes.
I mean, look what happened with the only place Farouk got.
What about Farouk?
You mean after him and JBL split?
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be the guy who on occasion would show up and go, damn.
And that was
his role. He was reduced to that.
Yeah.
Damn.
After having a great track record elsewhere.
No
if you guys know his history, well, The Rock is a whole different story.
Well, yeah, but
he really is actually. Yeah.
You know, but I mean, like I said, look what happened with Farouk. Look what's happening with.
You know, the story with the story with The Rock is unfortunately this. He ain't black enough, so you know he the exception.
Really, no.
Which is kind of idiotic anyway. That's neither here nor there.
That's just dumb.
Oh, I'm sorry. He isn't black enough, so he is the exception.
Yeah. That's just, well. I see.
Or perhaps it was a matter of The Rock was Dwayne Johnson now, because he's not The Rock anymore. Dwayne Johnson. Perhaps it was a matter of Dwayne Johnson being so talented that they couldn't just reduce him to a BS gimmick.
Yeah,
Take
but
over,
then
guys.
what's that? But then what's that saying about other wrestlers?
Yeah, but then if that's the case, then what you're saying about other black individuals is y'all non-talented.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said, well, what about them? Like, because Farouk was talented, yeah.
Listen, a lot of them are. Even Lio Rush. Lio Rush is fantastic on the mic, is fantastic in the ring.
Yeah, because you see him on 205 Live, right?
Yes.
You know, I have another point to make before I have to step away briefly, but before I do, here's another thing to consider. For those who might say, oh, The Rock ain't black enough, he's the exception. Yep. Do you think that The Rock would be where he is today if he weren't a third-generation star?
Well, he also has that.
Because you look at all these other
exactly.
You look at all the other black wrestlers that are in WWE that have been reduced to stereotypical roles or insignificant roles. They don't have a lineage to stand on.
Yeah, Kofi has not one to speak of.
No.
And with that,
No.
I will be right back. Pardon me, folks.
Go ahead.
What's his name? Big E?
Yeah. Well, you can't really put his name in it because he's in an act with the New Day, and I mean, for all purposes, the New Day have been treated very well as a group.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, as a group, yes.
So we can't even go there. But Kofi as an individual,
Right.
yeah, we can examine that, and I mean, perhaps we could
because
say,
look at what
yeah,
happened.
finally they what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh Lord. Finally they pull the there we go. Finally they pull the trigger on this guy and let him have the strat. Mhm. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. After 11 years.
Yes. But you were going to make a point. Go ahead.
I forgot. It totally slipped my mind what it was. Oh yeah, after 11 years, why wait that long? Because weren't they gonna, I mean, because it seemed like when he first started, they were gonna make a big push for him.
Well, they were, yeah, but what happened there was Randy Orton got in the way. I don't recall the story that much right now at this present moment, but Randy Orton pretty much was part of the reason why that push got stopped.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I see. And now they're finally pushing him.
Right. Although the question is, for how long? How long is he going to hold that title for? Because I have a strong feeling, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I will be. I have a strong feeling that his tenure with the title is going to be very, very short.
Yeah, I give it to maybe, I don't know, maybe SummerSlam.
If he has the belt going into SummerSlam, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, either
what are we at now?
SummerSlam or if we're Kofi Kingston.
Kof. Talking about Kof.
Oh.
Yeah,
SummerSlam.
or the Saudi Arabia show.
No, they're not going to strip him of the belt at the Saudi show.
SummerSlam, it sounds about right, yeah.
I'll be surprised if he makes it to SummerSlam with the belt, though.
What's before SummerSlam?
I'll be surprised if Roman Reigns ain't the champ by then.
Oh my God! I was about to say fully loaded is before SummerSlam.
No, Stomping Grounds.
Fully loaded. Stomping Grounds. Oh, that's what it's called now? Stomping Grounds?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Stomping Grounds, or I think Extreme Rules, one of the two. Who knows?
I think it's Extreme. Yeah, it might be Extreme.
I think it is.
So yeah, when we talk about the lineage that The Rock has, obviously he's a third generation superstar. His father was in the WWE. His grandfather was in the WWE.
Well, that's heavy.
You know, his father. That's pretty big. You look at some of the other black superstars some of the black WWE employees that are in WWE. They don't have that same lineage.
No.
Therefore, they were reduced to stereotypical roles or insignificant roles.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And don't give me the Booker T argument, because Booker T was WCW.
Exactly. Which, by the way, I still need to try out his barbecue place up in Houston. I haven't been there yet. I heard it's the bomb.
Mark Henry, okay, he was what? Okay. They gave him they could have done so much with the World's Strongest Man gimmick. It's amazing that they just squashed that opportunity.
You know something? I have a very love-hate relationship when it comes to Mark Henry, though, because the guy is very sincere in what he says and how he says. But I hate how much of a tool he is. I hate that there could be no wrong in everything that WWE does in his eyes and mind.
Now, you don't think any of that's scripted? You think he genuinely feels that way?
I wouldn't necessarily say scripted. I would say maybe trying to save face to still be in good graces with the company. However, it's so bad that it's like, bro, I just don't want to listen to you anymore.
Like, yeah, you're doing too much. You know who else that could have been great in WWE, man. And again, he was reduced to an insignificant role. It was Rodney Mack. That guy could have been great. You guys, you remember Rodney Mack?
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Rodney Mack?
Remember the guy that came out alongside Jazz?
No.
She was kind of
I know who Jazz is, but who the hell is Rodney Mack?
You know, come to think of it, Jazz and Rodney Mack, they could have been like the first like power couple power trip. You know how Triple H and Austin were the 2-man power trip?
Let me kill this bet again real quick.
Jazz and Rodney Mack could have been that.
Why and how do you remember the most obscure stuff?
I don't know. I just thought it was relevant. Yeah. Here you have a guy who was basically.
Go ahead.
Here you have a guy who was basically going around beating the crap out of a bunch of nobodies. They could have done so much more with it.
Who's Rodney Mack?
I don't have a WWE Network subscription, so I couldn't go back. Well, maybe I could see him on YouTube, watch him on YouTube or something.
Yeah, perhaps. And then you have D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown.
Yes.
What was?
I like D'Lo Brown though, bro. He was a very, very solid mid-card wrestler. Solid.
You think they could have done more with him?
Of course. I think D'Lo Brown had good charisma.
He did. You know who else had good charisma? MVP, man.
Oh, Vontavious Porter?
Vontavious Porter.
MVP.
You right.
Isn't he with Ring of Honor, or was I just making that up in my head?
I'm not sure where he's at this given point.
That's another one they could. I mean,
yeah.
But instead, what did they do? They team him up with Kennedy, which was pretty dope because they had them feuding with the Brothers of Destruction, and they got squashed. Then after that, they had him do this BS gimmick where he supposedly challenged a bunch of supposedly the toughest people from whatever city they're in.
Hey! One of them was from Honduras.
Like, what is that? They could have done so much more.
Really?
Do you remember?
One of them was?
Do you remember the Honduran's name?
No, Grande Latte.
Like, really?
Jesus, man.
That was his name?
Yes.
Oh no, but then somebody can argue back and say, oh well, he did fight Triple H. Yeah, okay, bro, tell the people at home what happened when he fought Triple H.
Yeah, exactly.
Squashed.
Yep.
So I have a question, and I've been meaning to ask you this ever since I heard it, but I haven't yet.
Yep.
So here's my question.
Yep.
JR is going to be the commentator of AEW.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
He said that Vince was really supportive of his decision. What do you think about that?
I don't believe it because let's look at how supportive he was of Chris Jericho.
So then why would JR say that?
Oh, the same reason why Chris Jericho said it? Because obviously they're going to be under the assumption that, yeah. That's why.
I see.
I mean, I don't think they fully believe it. I think they just kind of take it with a grain of salt, but they're not gonna, they're not gonna say that publicly.
They're not gonna say, yeah.
It's just like, okay,
and
whatever,
he went on this whole spiel of
well,
how
unless
Vince was like his brother.
Unless you're Chris Jericho, though, if you're Chris Jericho, you're gonna come out there and you're gonna say, well, listen, this is what Vince told me, but then this is what started happening.
Yeah.
Jericho is a very honest guy, bruh.
Yes. This is what Vince told me, and then this is what that gelatinous tapeworm did afterwards.
You kind of do sound like Chris Jericho when you do that, bruh.
You do.
All you have to do is add a little of this to your voice.
Oh, yeah. He does that on occasion too.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is go, huh? You know how he does
Oh, that was really wow.
Right, yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask him.
Wow.
Ask him.
You made the list.
Oh no, he's not gonna
And
do
at
that.
SummerSlam, I will climb that ladder. I will grab that belt and I will wrap it around this gorgeous waist.
Wow, that was really good.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Because I am a sexy beast.
There you go. There's the.
Yeah.
There it is. But yes.
By the way, did you guys know that Jericho beat The Rock and Austin on the same night to win the belt?
Yes, we know this.
Yes, we know this.
God,
I
every week after that.
beat-
Oh, good gracious.
You know what was funny about him is he would talk with a normal cadence, right? But then to call us stupid, you know, he'd go, I beat The Rock, you know, like let me clarify this for you guys, right? Which brings me to this point now. The way they portray their wrestlers on air nowadays.
Oh boy.
Every single solitary time. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Whoops. Oh boy.
Clue.
No? Clue?
There you go.
Clue?
No.
Clue?
No.
Clue?
Are you messing with your FX panel on purpose?
Clue? Before I get to my next point. Clue?
Hey,
Okay.
Hey.
So every time you have wrestlers come out there, right? You have the one guy going, I'm gonna burn it down. Then you had the other moron going, you're gonna get these hands.
I feel like I'm watching Dragon Ball Z and the two
You're
guys
gonna
are talking
get
trash to
these
each other before the
hands.
fight.
Well, not even they talk like that, though.
No, they don't.
Dragon Ball Z is more of a,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick your ass. Yeah. You know.
See, that would make more sense if they did that. Anyway.
To hell with you. To hell with that. I am gonna blow him into smithereens. You know.
And you know what? If they
Vegeta.
want to use the you're gonna get these hands thing, they could. You know, there's a way to execute that perfectly. Like for example, you could say something along the lines of, anyone, any man, could get these hands.
Yeah. But the problem with that is they talk like this during the whole entire promo, bro.
It's
Yes,
very forced. It's very unnatural.
You know,
doesn't come
it's
across.
different. You know. You remember when Triple H would go, "Cause I am the game, and I am
I'm
that
that
damn good." You know.
Yes.
But all throughout, you know, beforehand, Triple H would talk about, well, let me tell you something. Before I get you into that ring, I'm going to show you, I'm going to look into your eyes, and the one thing I'm going to see is fear. That's what I seen last week when we were toe-to-toe in this ring. What I seen was fear. Okay.
Yeah, he speaks normally, but it's
Yes, you have to exaggerate the voice because it's wrestling. Yes. Understood.
To a degree, yes.
Yes.
To emphasize whatever it is you're trying to say.
Yes.
To a degree.
But nobody talks like this in real life. When I get you in the ring, you are going to know who you are stepping through those ropes to fight and finally meet your maker.
Rest hold, rest hold, rest hold, rest hold.
And the reason I asked the question that I asked a couple of minutes ago was, how are people not supposed to look at these women and these men and deem them uneducated fools? Let's go.
Good question. Because second of all, this whole I'm gonna burn it down thing. Really, just really.
Yeah, I know.
Like, dude, you're a wrestler, not a pyromaniac. You're not in an action movie, and you're threatening to burn down the mayor's office or something. Like, what
You
the
know
hell
what
are
it
you
is?
doing?
Vince decided to put this "burn it down" in his song.
Well, the theme song. Okay, but that was the theme song, though.
Yeah, but I mean, does he have to like?
But this
say
is what.
that every
But this is what. But this is what
as a catchphrase, that ain't no.
But this is what.
No, as a catchphrase, that doesn't work.
But this is what WWE does. They exacerbate things. They grab a concept and they run with it and they feed it and force feed some more to the point where you're going, I don't want this no more. Yeah.
Where's that vomiting clip?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know. But that's what they do. You know, and
Yeah, they do.
And you get the same matches every single week on Raw and on SmackDown. Every single solitary week, the same match.
That's right. Edge and Batista, and on Raw it was shoot, I forgot what it was on Raw.
Man, I don't remember. You know. But yeah,
Somebody.
Listen, there's a team out there. You know, I like the Revival. They're great. If you guys check out what they did on NXT. But here's the deal. They recently turned down big money from Vince McMahon.
Ooh.
Now, obviously you have to wait a little less than a year for your contract to expire, okay? That's the scenario. Now Ness, if I present you with a contract, I know you've been unhappy with my company. I give you an offer, you turn it down, but I know that you still have a couple of months to go on your current contract. If already you've been told me no, and if already I know, okay, but he still has a few months left on his contract, let me do something about it. Let me turn things around for Ness to make Ness happy, and maybe he could change his mind about us.
Right.
And maybe, just maybe, he'll sign with us after all, because the offer is still out there, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Instead of Vince doing that with the Revival, you know what happened this past week on Raw?
What'd he do?
They were in a program with the Uso brothers, and for whatever reason, the Uso brothers had a hidden cam in which they caught one of the Revival guys in the shower with his partner, and he was shaving the other guy's back.
Oh my God.
What?
You gotta be kidding me.
And I believe afterwards they were involved in a match in which they lost. On top of all of that.
On top of the humiliation.
And all of this simply because they refused to sign a contract. When all you have to do is say to yourself, okay, they won't sign. Let's try to make them happy and see if we could change their minds.
Instead,
But guess what?
Degrading them.
But guess what? That ain't gonna work at this point either, though. Even though it would be preferable for you to try again than to not try at all. But the reason I say that this ain't gonna work was because the first time the Revival said we want out of our contracts, they were denied, and they were promised, listen, everything is gonna get better. They gave them the tag team titles, bruh. But guess what? Their run with the tag team titles was a lot worse than when they didn't have the titles at all.
Yep.
Wow.
But this is what they do out of pettiness.
That's Vinnie Mac for you.
And it makes no sense.
Now, I'm not saying that maybe AEW won't have a few things in their contracts or because listen, whether you're involved in any sporting organization or a team or there's always going to be small hints of BS somewhere.
Of course.
Okay? Business is business and business is dirty. Okay? But with that said...
But this here is just flat out...
But with that said, yes, AEW... Yeah. Yes, bro, do all football teams... Listen, aren't there loopholes in these contracts? Aren't there things that make us shake our heads when we examine some of these players' contractual statuses?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
You know, but regardless, ain't the majority happy? Ain't the majority of those employed by the NFL or their respective teams happy?
Yeah.
Ain't the majority of people, you know, on one championship, aren't they happy?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They are.
Yes.
You know, hell, I'll even say
Absolutely they are, yeah.
Hell, I'll even say even UFC fighters nowadays are happy with the current financial because I haven't heard much rumors or murmurs of people being unhappy with their money status now.
Not anymore, no.
Okay. So even
Not
them,
anymore, it's about time.
So
yeah,
congratulations,
good, yeah.
Y'all got that going for yourselves finally, man. I could, hey,
yes,
good job.
Good job, guys. Good job. It's about time.
No, but
long overdue. Long overdue.
But you have people in this company unhappy. And you keep them unhappy even when you have a chance to change that around, to change their perspective on your company. Even when you have the opportunity to flip that on its back and say otherwise, you still keep them unhappy. You make them lose. You make them eat L's, and you humiliate them. All because you don't want them to sign elsewhere. But then what happens if they do sign? Guess what? They're going to be sitting there for 5 years doing absolutely nothing, kicking themselves and saying, damn it, we should have signed with AEW. Or any other company. That's what they do. And they do it simply so that people won't go elsewhere because they're afraid.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they're afraid, obviously they recognize the amount of talent that all of these guys possess. But for whatever stupid, stubborn, idiotic, no good, piece of crap reason, this piece of crap over here, senile fool, decides to jail his employees, decides to say, oh, hand me your Twitter passwords and your Twitter handles just because you congratulated somebody who did something phenomenal yesterday, just because he was congratulated by your employees, you want to act like a little freaking piece of you know what. You evil piece of trash.
That's all that he's doing is illegal.
Yes.
Evil.
It's downright criminal what he's doing. And it's also very petty, childish, etc., etc.
It is.
This is a guy who won't take no for an answer. He wants to be in control. He's an authoritarian. He thinks he can throw his weight around and pretty much buy anything.
Bro, do some NBA, MLB, NHL, NFL. Do some players on opposing teams not congratulate others for I don't know, going elsewhere or for reaching some pinnacle of success, even if you're not on that team?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Come on. Please. You know,
and you don't hear about team owners wanting these guys' Twitter handles and passwords.
No.
Because they congratulated somebody on an opposing team.
Okada, said to Nakamura before he left, congratulations, but be careful.
Wow.
Felicidades, pero tenga cuidado. Uh-huh.
But he didn't know why he said what he said. He just said it.
Yeah.
See,
it's a shame. It's a shame. It's sad to see what Vince has become, man. Like, dude, just retire already.
I mean, Okada, who's a part of another wrestling promotion, told his friend who was signed to WWE, "Congratulations, but be careful."
Wow.
You see,
that's a shame.
You see, part of the problem here is also the fact that WWE or Vince McMahon does not know how to handle the fact that now his WWE ain't the end all be all.
Correct.
He ain't the final destination to where wrestlers want to be nowadays. Now you have wrestlers saying, I'm content if my career ends in New Japan. I'm content if I go to AEW. I'm content because what wrestlers are looking for, I dare say even more so than the money at times, is creative freedom.
Yep.
Yes, because they want to. Oh, yes, they do want to get paid, but they also want to get paid for getting showcased.
Yes. You know.
Because if I'm going to pay you a boatload of money, it would be stupid of me to just have you doing menial things. Like
exactly.
It makes no sense.
Listen, let's go back to Dean Ambrose here for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
How does it make you guys feel? And I mean you guys on the panel. How does it make ya feel when symbolism such as an asylum? Now one could say, oh, but that's indicative of Dean Ambrose's former character. Okay. But when he's using that asylum to say, I escaped, when he's using that asylum meaning jail, meaning WWE, what does that say to y'all?
That says that, boy, that is a toxic work environment that the WWE has now created. Because to refer to your former place of employment as an asylum.
I mean, that.
And to celebrate the fact that you're now free from said asylum. That says a lot.
Yeah, that just says it's a scary place. It's horrible working conditions. And I'm glad to get, to be free of this because it was a burden coming to work every day. That's how I see it.
Right. As opposed to
not good
going about
and you felt imprisoned.
Right. Are there instances where people walk out of a job, step down, or whatever, for whatever reason? But sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and it's very often. It's as often as the opposite. But as many times as people say, "I'm glad to be out of that job," as many times as people say that and run with that, you also have people who step down and say, "Man, I'm gonna miss this. Man, I'm gonna miss the people. Man, I'm gonna miss."
Of course.
Come on.
Of course.
But that's not what.
I'll give you a prime example of that. When people ask players who retire from the NFL or the NBA, well, specifically the NFL or the NBA or what have you, they ask them, "Well, what do you miss? What are you gonna miss the most about the game?" And they'll say, "The locker room."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The locker room.
Yep.
The work environment.
Because it's camaraderie, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
It's camaraderie, it's brotherhood,
Isn't that what WWE used to be?
Yes. That's what it used to be.
But again, because it's no longer the be-all, end-all, be-all, it can't handle that.
Right.
It can't handle that wrestlers nowadays aren't saying, "Oh, I want that WrestleMania spotlight," or "I want just to be employed in WWE." No, not anymore, man.
Not anymore.
WWE
is not the only game in town anymore.
No.
Vince McMahon needs to channel his younger self and do what we know he's capable of doing. Well, at this point, he's doesn't seem to be no longer capable of that at this point.
I was just gonna say, but I don't think he is anymore.
Listen, on Raw, visibly on camera, you can see people leaving. The camera's catching it. You could see them leaving. Their ratings have gone down to 1.9, 1.8.
That's not a good look when you imagine, what are you thinking if you're watching Raw at home? And next thing you know, what you see on your screen is people walking out of the arena.
Yeah.
What are you, the viewer at home?
I don't want to go see that. I don't want to go to a live event.
You don't even want to watch it on television, much less go
exactly
there live. But what it does is it further confirms what you and your fellow TV viewers are also thinking. This is crap.
Right.
You know what? You know what? Let me tell you something. In most cases, I would never want anyone or any company to fail. But you know something? To Vince, to Kevin Dunn, and to all the other morons who run that place, with all this going on right now, good for you, you piece of shit.
I have a prediction. Next year, I don't know when, next year. But next year, WWE will be in the process of falling.
But it already is falling. To a company,
it's already unraveling before our very eyes.
To a company that's yet to air their first show.
But you know what the sad part is? They're not even unraveling because of the competition. This is all self-inflicted.
It is.
This is all self-inflicted.
Because this started what? It started really before AEW showed up.
Yeah, but this exodus and all that's going on now has really picked up this year.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of an infection. That just can't get better. No matter what you do to it.
I'm sorry, Vince McMahon deserves everything he has coming to him.
Yeah, because all of this is self-inflicted. All of this that's happening right now is self-inflicted.
Yep.
They have inflicted upon themselves this.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have nobody else to blame for any of this.
But man, it's the wrestler's fault. No, it's
not.
No,
the hell it's not.
I would love to hear a valid argument as to why it's the wrestler's fault. I really would.
Well, they signed contracts. They should have known. How were they supposed to know that this was the type of environment
that it was going to turn into?
How were they supposed to know that?
Yeah, you don't sign a contract and thinking that this is what it's going to be. You sign a contract because you think the opposite.
Really high expectations.
Yeah. Because if you really thought this was going to be a disaster from the start, then you wouldn't have signed.
Exactly.
How do you feel about contracts being extended due to wrestlers getting injured?
It's wrong. And it's illegal.
Now, Ness, I know you saw the... this one's kind of a hard one to talk about.
Go ahead.
To have an athlete's contract extended simply because of something that was out of their control, you tack on 6 more months because you want to keep them locked up because you're afraid Yo, McMahon, you should be in jail.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Of course.
Now, for every other business out there that practices anything on the crazy side, listen, it might be crazy, but crazy don't mean necessarily that it's criminal.
Right.
How many football contracts haven't come our way, Ness, that we see reported of? How many MMA contracts, boxing contracts, how many contracts in general have we not heard or caught wind of where we say, what? That's crazy. But it's usually not, what? That's crazy in disgust.
No. It's been rare. There's been those rare occasions, but for the most part, no.
Right. But to treat more than a handful of your employees the way that you treat them, to humiliate them, to be as petty, as childish, but yet you focus so much on zero bullying tolerance.
That's a joke.
When what you do,
that's the same as their so-called women's revolution. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's propaganda. It's it's BS. It's absolute BS.
you know, oh, this shouldn't matter to me because I'm not involved in it. This shouldn't matter to me because I don't work there. This shouldn't matter to me for whatever reason you want to throw at me.
And I can throw you one reason as to why it matters, because you are a fan who has been watching WWE for over 2 decades.
Yes. I started watching all of this since I was 4. And it's one aspect of my childhood that's carried over. And yes, I'm not employed by any wrestling company. Yes, I'm not part of this business. Yes. But I'll be damned if I told you that I didn't feel something for it. If I told you, I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't love it. Cause the reality is I do.
You know, I was sitting there one day watching, I forgot what it was, on the network.
Yeah.
And it was after we went to MSG. And I was thinking to myself, why can't this be as good as what we saw at MSG? Why? That's what I thought.
What's sad about that is that once upon a time it used to be. Once upon a time it used to be. And now what? But the downside to that, the dark side to that, is what we're seeing now is these childish, petty, authoritarian tactics.
You know what's worse? You know what's worse? They come out there. They have their wrestlers come out there, cut promos that are absolutely positively Vince McMahon's words. And what I mean by that is that these are promos designed to insult fans like us. And I don't mean insult fans like us in a wrestling environment type, like, you know, oh, you fat, out of shape. No. I mean direct us, insult us here. Here
I think
and here.
The most disgusting aspect of Vince McMahon's practices is the lack of accountability that the man takes for the deaths of his former employees, resulting from them working around the clock for him and his company.
Of course.
And the way he handled Owen.
You know, everybody talks about the NFL and their concussion problem. WWE has a worse problem. You got people there who don't even make it to 60.
Roddy Piper said, I ain't even
Roddy
gonna
Piper
make
said
it.
he wouldn't make it to 65.
Yeah.
And damned if he wasn't right. You know how crazy that is?
How much of you do they take out? How much of your being is withdrawn for you to realize I'm gonna make it to this age? How must you been feeling?
You know what? Why doesn't Vince McMahon just get out of the wrestling business and I don't know, run a military branch?
That he
because they both have a lot in common. They use up their people, and then when they're no longer useful, they get tossed aside like a piece of garbage.
Spit them back out.
What the hell's the next rule they're gonna implement? What, you're gonna have 5-minute showers now?
Lord have mercy.
Is that the next step?
You know.
And yes, I do agree with you. The way he handled the Owen thing was an absolute disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
You know, when we were at MSG and everybody was standing on their feet when Okada said what he said, and he thanked everyone. And I'm trying really hard not to tear up. But when he thanked everyone, I thought, we're never gonna see that in WWE.
Not anymore. No, you won't. No, you aren't going to see that in WWE now. What you are going to see is these generic fed promos.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of you watching, a lot of you who are gonna watch, I know you understand me. And I know that in the same token, maybe some of you may not. And I wish I had sufficient enough words to bring your way to tell you guys why this means so much to me. Why this makes not only myself, but to people like Joe Cronin, to people like JD, to people like Solid Monster, why this means a lot to us. To people like friends of mine, like Anthony, and Chris, and Jose. Why this means so much to us. We can't.
It's it's a shame to see what this has now become, man. As a former fan it saddens me to see this happen.
You know, and I'm not even looking at this anymore from a man, but that was WWE, the company that I grew up watching. It's way past that now. Because now, what I mean by why I care so much is why I care so much for the people. For them, for those athletes.
Because now...
You know, why I care.
Yeah, now what we're talking about...
Why I give a damn about them being treated like animals, like prisoners.
Because now what we're talking about is not even a matter of the product. Now we're talking about people's lives here.
Exactly.
People's lives being played with.
Yes.
And that's exactly what's going on.
Unfortunately.
And all for what? And all for what?
All because you're a petty old bastard.
Yep.
Who the hell do you think you are?
And your ego has to take a front seat.
And that's the biggest
if
problem.
If you even have one anymore.
You know,
all of this, as we said before, is self-inflicted.
You know,
it's a shame. It really is.
You know, I know I speak for a lot of us here when I shouldn't, but I do. I know we don't, and we do wish we had McMahon in front of us right now.
Yeah.
It's one of those. Yeah.
What's gonna happen when ratings keep going down the toilet and they're handed over to Fox? Fox already said, we're not having that.
And you know there are people from Fox that are looking every week.
You know, it's like the example. It's like the example that JD gave. you know, when you had to when back in the day children would be corrected, you know, you give them a little slap in the ass with a belt or with the chancleta, you know what I'm saying?
Or chancleta, you know.
You know. Mm-hmm. Hey, you get your act together. You know. That's what Fox is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what Fox is going to be to WWE.
Yep.
You mean like this? You mean like this right here, right here?
Yes.
Yeah, like that.
You really think Fox ain't gonna do that to WWE?
Of course they are.
Listen, Fox doesn't need WWE.
Of course not.
So if they have to, they will drop them in a heartbeat.
Of course they will.
Like yesterday's garbage.
Yep.
In a heartbeat. They don't need WWE.
Of course not.
And you know what? If Vince McMahon wasn't so damn egotistical, he would put NXT on Fox instead of SmackDown. Just saying.
Yeah, but the question is, could he? Because that's Triple H's thing.
You know
what?
what?
He could. He's Vince McMahon.
You know what? Here's the sad part about NXT.
He could.
Those guys go out there and they bust their ass literally doing what they do. Mm-hmm. And they present us with 5-star plus matches. only to be handed to the main roster and shredded.
And get marginalized. Yeah.
Yep.
So all that work that I did for what?
I don't get it. Mm-hmm.
Which if you're a wrestler and you're watching this, what does that say to you? Do you say, well, I want to be in NXT just to say that I was, and then deal with being in the main roster and outrun my contract? Or do you say,
you know what I do?
I don't want to risk any of it at all and just go elsewhere? But then that puts NXT in a very messed up position.
If I were going to sign with WWE, and particularly for NXT, I would negotiate a clause in that contract where
lock me in
I
NXT.
stay in NXT.
Yep.
Done. Because I already know, okay, if I go to the main roster, I'm going to get squashed. I'm going to become irrelevant. I'm going to get marginalized.
Yeah, because look what happened with EC3.
And I'm sorry, but you know who pisses me off too? Alongside with McMahon and WWE is these WWE fans. Notice how I didn't say wrestling fans.
Oh.
Yep.
Yes.
Who are under the stupid assumption that, NXT guys just can't hang in the main roster. You freaking idiot!
Hey, with that being said, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Bitch Killer.
Oh, Lord.
WWE fan.
Oh, my gosh.
Anyway. Yes. Shout out to you, sir. But for everyone saying that, Dean Ambrose was once upon a time in NXT.
In NXT.
Went to the main roster. Yeah, he had his run with the Shield, but after that was made a joke. And now that he's out, he's had more ratings on Twitter than what WWE pulls on Raw.
Yep.
That is a damn shame.
So now tell me that they can't hang. You idiotic fools.
Wow. You know?
And you know what? Everyone is saying, well, not everyone, but these WWE idiots are saying, oh, this is a work. WWE is just trying to pull one over you, so they're going to repackage Dean Ambrose so he could be Jon Moxley. No, you idiot. First of all, as PG as WWE is, do you really think they're going to showcase barbed wire, guns, and blood in their video package?
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
Nah.
You morons.
What's that from?
You morons.
My wife and kids.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I love that show.
Wow, that's what some of the delusional
That's what some of them
conspiracy
are
theorists are thinking, that we're gonna rebrand Dean Ambrose
Seriously?
as John Moxley.
Yes.
They're really thinking that.
Wait, did I get that right?
Moxley.
Moxley.
Oh, yeah. I see Moxley. Yeah, tomato, right?
I like both.
I like them both, yeah. You know what they actually could have called? That could have been his in-ring name, John Moxley.
Yeah.
Sounds so much cooler than Dean Ambrose, for God's sakes.
It does, yeah.
He could be like he could have been like the modern day Stone Cold like character, you know, with Moxie. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he very well can be.
Just saying.
Yeah, he can.
Just saying. I don't know. Book it.
You know, but these idiots over here. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I can't believe that. They
Whatever.
actually think that?
Right.
They actually think. They actually. Wow.
They actually think that? Are they stupid?
That's overthinking, man. Like, really?
Yeah, I know. Are they stupid?
Apparently so. They've been hitting the sauce a little too much.
Yeah.
So along with contracts here, sticking with that though. And we talked about, you know, how we feel about tacking on months to people's contracts because of injury and sort. How do you feel about the 90-day no-compete clause if, say, you quit or either you run out your See, if you don't...
That's even worse. That's even worse than the injury thing.
Now, the no-compete clause... Hold on. The 90-day don't... Oh my gosh. The 90-day no-compete clause is applied to wrestlers who have sat out the rest of their contract. Now, if you've been active and run out your contract, you don't get the no-compete clause slapped on you, hence why Ambrose was able to do what he did, because he didn't sit out. You know, had CM Punk continued wrestling after his absence from WWE, after his departure, he would have been hit with the no-compete clause because he sat out the remainder of his contract. Even still, I still think it's absolutely criminal.
It is absolutely criminal, and secondly, it's also senseless. Because if somebody is sitting, because you're basically paying somebody to sit around and do nothing. You might as well just release them. Make space on your payroll.
Yes.
Why are you gonna hold? It makes no sense.
But again, pettiness.
And then, the no-compete clause is absolutely petty, because then you're basically saying, okay, you basically took my money for doing nothing. Oh, well, guess what? You're not gonna be able to compete after your contract is up for 3 months.
Now CM Punk.
So guess what? You're not gonna have any money for 3 months. So screw you.
Now CM Punk, look, man, he comes across as a prick, as an asshole. He comes across as somebody who's very self-righteous.
What a potty mouth.
I try.
Jeez.
But yes, he does come across as all of those things, yes.
However, there are truths that he does tell.
Yes.
One of them being WWE forcing him to fight in spite of him having a nasty staph infection.
Yes, I remember that.
Which, by the way, is both dangerous for him and his opponent.
And listen to this one. He gets fired on the same day of his wedding.
Oh my God.
CM Punk could be anything in the book I want to call him, but my gosh.
Well, should we really be surprised by this? After all, it was Vince McMahon who had an on-screen angle where he fires Mick Foley on Christmas night.
Oh, yeah.
How could we forget that?
Humiliated JR.
Is he the one that plays Santa?
Humiliated JR on air so many times.
Yes.
This is what they do.
Objectified Trish Stratus, Sable, etc., 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 etc. Need I go on? Made a mockery of mental illness with both the characters of Festus and Eugene.
Festus. Gallows, right? Luke Gallows?
Yeah, that guy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to retract.
Wait, Luke Gallows?
Festus. Yeah, Luke Gallows.
Luke Gallows was in WWE before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. I did not know that.
Luke Gallows' character Festus was basically the equivalent of like a circus elephant.
Really?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Go when the bell
And
rings.
what is
Stop when the bell rings again.
And who is this Eugene guy?
He
Eugene
played
was-
he played a mentally challenged character.
A mentally challenged character. Supposedly the nephew of Eric Bischoff.
Oh, come on, really?
Yes, he played Eric
That's just
Bischoff's mentally
wrong.
challenged nephew.
That's just wrong.
No, they didn't do the bell thing with him, but you know, he was just mentally challenged. So they used that as they kind of exploited that. You know, they had Triple H fool him into thinking that he was friends with him. They had a plethora of other things that happened.
Come on, that's just wrong. Like,
Yeah.
But yet they want to shove anti-bullying in your face.
I said, that's a joke. And you look at the one who really bullies people off air, off stage, freaking JBL.
Oh, how about this? Remember the roasting that Vicky Guerrero received at the hands of Edge?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got to take this into consideration too. Oh, but they could say no. Yeah, of course they could. But guess what? Guess what?
They would be screwed if they did.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. Because then you're the one that's going to be humiliated.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Exactly. This is not a democracy, folks. WWE is not a democracy.
Where
Vince
do
is
you
the alpha, the omega, and everybody else is to fall in line.
Where do you see WWE in the next 5 years?
Off air,
Out.
non-existent.
Done. Finished.
Out.
Kaput.
Done.
In the memories of fans everywhere. That's it.
One of those documentaries on like some TV
The rise
channel.
and fall of WWF.
Yeah, like that.
Given the money that they have, how would that be possible?
Well, the ratings are going to continue to plummet. Attendance is going to plummet.
Yep. And they'll be busy trying to pay off.
And eventually NXT is going to suffer as a result of it because, I mean, listen, as great
Because
as NXT
people are
is,
gonna leave
it's
the
not going to
network.
be enough. It's not going to be enough to hold people's attention
Right.
from the overwhelming
Because you're still under that evil
cesspool
umbrella.
that is Raw and SmackDown.
Exactly.
You're still under that
people
umbrella.
Are leaving,
Yeah.
people are leaving the network too because of this.
Wow.
Am I right or am I wrong? I mean,
I haven't checked network numbers yet. So I can't confirm or deconfirm that.
okay.
But you know what the sad part is? Listen, Vince McMahon, obviously at this point, he's filthy rich. He has FU money, basically, so even if WWE does go belly up, he'll be fine.
He'll be good, yeah.
Yeah.
Is Vince McMahon delusional, senile, or afraid?
A little delusional, a little senile, and a lot
And a
afraid.
little afraid. Yeah, all three.
If he's afraid, which I know he is, why hasn't he done the right thing about it to rectify where he's going wrong with his employees?
Maybe because in his head he thinks that if he just doesn't do anything, it'll rectify itself.
Or he thinks that he's not in the wrong.
Yeah.
He thinks that what he's
Which
doing
I think
is
that's
justified.
How could you not
Yeah.
think you're in the wrong though when your viewership has gone
That is-
down?
that
If he
is-
doesn't
when
that
you
is
have
delusional.
when you have a
That's the
mass
delusional.
hold on when you have a mass exodus happening.
Because
That's how delusional
if he
he
doesn't,
is.
because if he doesn't think that him not taking responsibility for people's deaths isn't wrong, then he's definitely not going to think that this is wrong either.
Absolutely. That's a very good point you actually
Great
made there. Yeah.
point.
That's a very great point.
That's a great point.
He's essentially going to blame everybody else.
Yeah. Why? Because I don't care what anybody says, he's a psychopath. Not in, like, how you think he's a psychopath. Oh, he's gonna go kill people. No, that's not what I mean, because there's different types of psychopathy.
Psychopathy?
Yeah, it's a word. I promise you that. It's a word.
That's a word?
Yes, it's a word.
Word of the day, folks. Psychopathy.
It's a psychological word, yes. It just categorizes psychopaths. There's different types.
Well, the word of the day for WWE was sociopath this past Monday.
Sociopath, huh? Oh, boy.
Sociopath. How ironic.
Well, sociopathy and psychopathy go hand in hand. You do know.
Well, that's
that,
why
right?
I'm saying
That's a mouthful right there, God.
Okay,
I know, because I had to think.
Okay, but again, let's go back to the fans. Sociopath.
Okay.
What is Vince telling us fans with that? That they know that they're screwing up. That they know that the WWE is being run by a whole bunch of all these words, man.
Psychopathic.
Psychopathic morons.
Egomaniac morons. Okay, the thing about a sociopath is this: they don't care about anything or anyone.
Okay, well there we go.
Now we're getting somewhere.
There's the shot
They
to the
where we
fans.
are now.
There's a
They
shot at the
only
fans. There's the shot at the
They
fans.
They only care about themselves and how to get ahead. That's all that they care about.
Okay, but do you
guys
see the
remember-
point? Do you see the point that I'm making?
Yes, I do. I do.
Mo, do you remember that promo he once cut a few years ago, where he said something along the lines of, "You're gonna like what I damn well tell you to."
Sorry, it's hard to take you seriously when you do that.
Yes, I do remember that. Yes.
See,
I just remember thinking to myself, "Wow."
That's a
Listen,
sociopath talking.
With Vince McMahon's on-air personality,
No, he
it
should
was very
he should.
difficult.
He should be
Well,
McNerd.
he should be Vince McMurdered. Yes, you're right.
McMurdered, yes.
With his on-air personality, it was very difficult. If there was one thing about WWE that was difficult to tell whether it was real or not, it was Vince McMahon's on-air personality.
No, that was actually real.
That was his,
Come to find out
his
later.
authentic aspect of WWE that ever existed in his existence.
Yeah.
Let me-
come to find out later. That's how he really is.
I have a real deep question here to ask.
Mm-hmm.
What would the feeling be if Vince McMahon passed away this instance?
Oh my, that.
I think
Wow.
it would be a little like empathy because of his family and what they are going through. But then at the same time,
I think there'll be more. I think it'll be more insensitivity than anything else. I mean, because
Yeah,
there are gonna
that's
be people
what- yeah,
basically
I was-
celebrating this. Basically saying, "Okay,
Yes.
screw you, go to hell." And that's even sadder, quite frankly. I mean,
that is
boy,
sadder.
You're gonna be,
I mean,
you wanna be
you know what that
remembered as
reminds me of?
Dang.
You know what that reminds me of? The question you asked me was, I don't know if you guys have ever seen or read The Christmas Carol. When the ghost of Christmas Future goes over to Scrooge and takes him to the cemetery and he sees his own grave. and he hears all those people talking about how bad of a person he was, and that they're all glad he's dead, including his nephew.
Oi.
My God.
That's what that reminded me of.
You know you're a bad person when your own flesh and blood is glad you're dead. That's bad.
I know.
You know how bad that. You know how bad that is.
Yeah, I know. But that's exactly what that
fans,
reminded me of.
Wow.
As fans, I was moved by the times when Owen Hart tragically passed away. I was moved by Eddie Guerrero. I was even moved with Benoit, and to some degree still am.
Yes, that's a story in and of itself. Like, wow.
But Randy Savage, I was definitely moved by that because as a child, Randy Savage was my favorite wrestler of all time.
Roddy Piper.
Moved by Piper. Moved by Warrior. All those.
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yep. Bobby
that goes without say.
Was it the Brain? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yes.
That one absolutely goes without say. But worth a say.
Yeah.
Okerlund, Mean Gene.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yes.
yeah.
You know,
Wow.
but it'd be hard for me to sit here. No, I'm not going to celebrate either. That just ain't me. But
I mean, you shouldn't celebrate somebody's death. That's just not.
Exactly.
But I can't sit here and say, poor guy. What a shame.
Yeah. And that's the sad part.
Oh,
that's
man.
Because you don't want to remember somebody in this fashion.
I can't.
You don't want to remember somebody in this fashion. You don't want to come across the news one day and say, okay, Vince McMahon has passed away from blah 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 blah, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, you're just, I don't know, your reaction is kind of like in limbo, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah. And that is worse than anything.
It is.
I'd rather you be all the way this way or that way towards somebody passing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not conflicted. And sure, okay, but you don't know these people, blah, 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 blah.
But you've watched them for years.
But you've watched them. Connection. They were a part of your childhood. They're a part of your adulthood. What? You basically invited them into your homes every week in your living room.
What part of, yes, and what part of that don't you understand about wrestlers, about football players, about basketball players, baseball players, hockey stars, soccer players, boxers, MMA fighters, movie stars, actors, actresses, singers? What don't you guys understand about that? Yes, we don't know these people, but we know them as entertainers, as people who made us smile, as people who pissed us off, as people who moved us one way or another.
Yes.
I remember when Pac died.
Stuart.
I was 10 years old.
Go ahead.
And somebody had asked me, but why? You don't even know the guy. Yeah, but you know what? He was our generation's poet. And
so that was about, that was 96, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I was about 10 years old at the time myself. Now, I don't actually remember Pac dying at that age because I wasn't really paying too much attention to music at the time. But watching those documentaries now, later in my life, I'm like, wow.
Okay, Aaliyah.
Okay, ESPN.
Wow.
I was about to say, Stuart
Scott. Yeah, when he passed, I'm like, what?
Now who's that?
That hits hard.
He was an ESPN anchor. You know, he used to do the Sports Center.
That hits so hard.
Okay.
That hits so hard too because what we saw a year prior.
Not even a year prior. Yeah, not even a year prior. Like more like maybe like 9 months prior. Like he was literally up there giving his ESPY speech. Not the Jimmy V Foundation thing. That they do every summer. I saw that speech, and I'm like, wow. And then a few months later, he dies. I'm like, wow.
You know, but again, we saw his career, bruh. His.
Yeah.
I mean, flamboyant ain't even doing it justice.
No,
But
I mean,
He was so full of
highlights.
He was so full of character, so funny.
Yes.
It's like I said, you invite these people into your homes on your TV sets. You watch them on a weekly basis.
You know, and when our local baseball commentator, Harry Callis, when he passed away, I was like, wow. It was wow.
No, I don't watch baseball, and he didn't die. But the guy from the Dodgers, the one who would announce all the games.
Oh, Vince Scully.
Yeah, when he retired, I thought that's kind of sad, you know, because I liked the way he sounded.
Did I get that right?
No, that has not been Scully.
No, what the hell is his name? I'm thinking about somebody else.
Yeah, no, that's not been Scully, bro.
I know who she's talking about. I can't think of his name right now.
He was the voice of the Dodgers for like ever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah, he was their local radio commentator. Yeah.
Since what, like the 1950s or something?
Yeah.
60,
But
something like that.
Yeah.
You know, even YouTube personalities.
Yeah.
You can attach to them. You know, you really don't think.
Yeah.
You know, I look forward to a JD podcast. I look forward to Fightful and you know, people who do gameplays. Like, you know, I look forward to watching guys like Dynasty and you know, you invite them. And the fact that,
and authors,
and even more so YouTube. Hold on, even more so YouTube guys, because and I think this is going the same route as authors, Crystal. Even, you know, because YouTube, I've had plenty of conversations with people here on YouTube. You know, Sean Rossap has answered a few of my questions. We've interacted. I don't know the guy personally, but just knowing, I've interacted with this guy.
But you guys have interacted. That's the point.
You know, and going to live wrestling events, I've interacted with these guys. Even when I'm cheering for them, when I'm booing them, when I'm shouting whatever obscenities or words of praise, I'm interacting with them in my own way, ain't I? And they interact back. Singers, when they're doing their thing on stage. Okay, guys, you know it. Sing it now. You know.
They're engaging with the crowd, yeah.
Exactly.
It's all part of it. It's all part of that connecting.
And they're not singing with you, Beyonce. Just saying.
By the way, check out what's the name of that documentary, Homecoming, if you haven't checked it out already. It's
I checked out that album.
It's moving. It's cool.
I checked out that album, and yeah, that's a different podcast for a different day.
Go ahead, authors.
Yes, authors.
Okay, go ahead. Authors.
You know, I'm not friends with her, but I would like to be eventually. I have a favorite author of mine, and she's interacted with me on Facebook. I've spoken to her on the phone.
There you go.
And she's just a normal person. She says, I'm a normal person like you. I shop at the supermarket. I look for bargains. The only thing is I'm a New York Times bestseller.
Does she have a guide? Does she have a guide with her though when she does this?
Most likely, yeah.
No.
But how? She's got authors.
What?
She's got authoritis. You know.
Authoritis. Moron. You know, and same thing with another author of mine who I haven't interacted with, but I would love to interact with him. His name is John Sanford. If something were to happen to these people, I would.
Oh my God, that scared the hell out of me.
What, the track?
I thought somebody was in the room. I'm like, what the?
Okay.
I have another.
Okay.
No, here's another thing too.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
Obviously, all of us grew up. Obviously, we all grew up watching Fresh Prince, and we also all grew up watching Martin.
Yeah.
Weren't we all moved by the death of Tommy Ward, I think his name is, and James Abram?
Yes. Oh yes.
Yes.
We're like,
oh yeah.
Of course.
I was like, no, Uncle Phil died. No,
of course.
I'm so sad. Like,
of course, man.
Okay, case in point, right?
But again,
Jackie
these are
Collins,
people. These are people that we. Again, they made us laugh. They made us smile.
Jackie Collins.
They made us feel good on a crappy date.
Jackie Collins, who is a brilliant author, she wrote a lot of like romance, crime stuff, really good stuff. She wrote the Lucky series. She had passed away. I think she was like 75 from, like, I think it was breast cancer or something. And she had just gotten done with the prequel to the first Lucky book. So there's 10 books in the series now. And I was really sad. I was like, but I love reading her books, you know.
And I have another example that's similar to that. I mean, Paul Walker died at the end of the filming of Fast 7.
Fast 7, yes.
I watched that and I'm like, oh my god, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what was weird, watching Heath Ledger in the last Batman movie he did.
You know, it's again, to anyone arguing, how could you, if you're, it's more like you should.
Listen, these people have connected with the general public in one way, shape, or form.
Yes. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Celine Dion fan. Not as big as I was when I was in high school, but I got so excited when I found out, oh my gosh, she's coming to my state! Yes!
And I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control.
Oh, stop it. But my point is, they bring you some type of joy, right? I mean, these athletes, these singers, these celebrities, they make you feel some type of way, right?
Yeah.
Hey man, 2 summers ago I got to see Gran Combo live here in my own city.
Oh, that's sweet.
And to see the founder of that group out there, 91 years old, he was going to be the next day, out there just as happy as a child out there, just playing those keys. It was incredible.
That is awesome. That is amazing. You know,
it was a blast.
Again, you know, I can't help but to think, you know, the day that that the Lord calls up somebody like Jake Roberts to me, man,
yeah, that's gonna be something. Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, well, I interacted with this guy, not even from a fan perspective at this point, but I talked to him. I literally gave him a hug, shook his hand. We laughed together.
You know, I laughed felt the
together,
same way.
Bruh.
I felt the same way looking back on it now because I didn't understand it, but you know, because I was 5 years old. But when Selena, when she passed away, I thought, man, you know, I was on her bus with her. I met AB. I met Suzette. You know, Selena carried me. Like, what? You know?
Yeah. Again, we're not saying that you would feel for these guys the same way you would a friend or a family member, but feel for them regardless.
But you're still gonna feel for them in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly. You know, when Michael Jackson died.
Oh my god, wow, yeah.
You know, didn't you feel some type of way?
Yeah, I was initially like, no, they planned, right? And it wasn't until I saw the documentary a couple days later, I'm like, wow.
You know, when a friend of mine told me about Michael Jackson's death, because she was like, did you hear about MJ? I was like, oh, what happened with Michael Jordan? That's exactly what I thought. No, it was Michael Jackson. What? Whoa.
Yeah.
Same thing with Whitney.
So to anyone saying that this shouldn't matter to me or to us,
it does.
I don't know, man.
It should. You know,
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I know when Ray Charles passed away, when Luther passed away, I felt some type of way.
You know, of course this should matter to me. And if they matter to me, and if they mattered to me when they pass away, why shouldn't they matter to me now, seeing how they're being treated?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
The fact is, we all have someone in the entertainment world, whether it be athlete, singer, actor, wrestler, etc., that we are connected to in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Yes.
It is what it is.
And you know, it's like I said on a Facebook post a couple days ago. Yes, I don't want to be that guy that comes on here and complains about a specific product. But what do you do?
What do you do?
You know, I think with this platform, with YouTube, with Twitter, with Facebook.
Twitter, Facebook, yeah, social media. It's a powerful platform. We could all
if used right, yes.
have these discussions, yeah.
And
civilly.
Let's put content out there that tells these people otherwise. I mean, listen, the odds of us being heard are very slim. But so long as that slim chance is still out there, we should really take advantage of it, guys.
Exactly. Because you
Let's
never
let
know,
our voices
right?
heard. If not for our benefit, at least for the benefit of these men and women. For things to get better for them.
Because you never know how you might impact them, you know.
Exactly.
You know,
you guys, we were watching that I seen brief snippets of that AEW documentary, and the one guy talked about how wrestling changed his life.
You know,
JR talked about how the fans brought him back. How he was moved by how much the fans meant to him, you know what I'm saying? Or, how much he meant to the fans.
How much he meant to the fans.
Instead of burying wrestlers, instead of embarrassing them on air, why not make their final moments in your company great ones, so that maybe when they're done with the other company, they have you in their sights?
Exactly.
Why not feel glad about there being new positions, new job opportunities for these guys?
Yep.
Why not make them feel good about making a choice? But instead, what you do is treat them like animals. You want to embarrass this guy, treat him like an animal, treat him like a slave, treat her like a bitch.
That ain't right, man. It's not right at all.
It's not.
It ain't right.
Nah, man.
Wow. Just, I don't know. It seems like every time something happens, I've become more and more at a loss for words.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know what else to say about any of this anymore.
I often ask myself, what's gonna happen next?
Me too, huh?
Yeah.
How much worse can it get? And does it get any worse? I'm afraid the answer is yes.
Yeah. I'm afraid it is too, yeah. I'm afraid it is as well.
Now, to conclude this, I want to ask this. What starts happening when AEW starts airing weekly? What is gonna happen then?
It's a very good question.
Yep. We won't know until it.
Well, I'm asking.
airing.
I'm asking on the premise of what we're already seeing.
I see.
It's a good question. I mean, it does have the potential to get worse, and it probably will.
Yeah, it probably will.
Probably will.
Like I said, it's like this infection that won't go away.
It's a domino effect. You have one, the infection started here, and now it's running all over the place now. That's the way it goes. At this point, it's an epidemic.
What do you do if you're WWE and you have a demented fool steering or navigating, controlling everything?
I don't know what you can do.
I don't know what you can do. Here's a
That guy
question for you.
is a control freak to the umpteenth degree, and I don't really know what any of those guys could do about it. And I don't mean the wrestlers themselves. I mean the other guys in power.
Yes.
Right.
Go ahead, Crystal.
What would you do about it?
Rebel. Do what Sasha's doing.
Yep.
Start a union.
Mm-hmm.
Start a social media campaign.
Come on, guys.
Listen, social media is a powerful tool, man. They don't want that bad publicity on social media.
Exactly.
They don't.
Yep.
They don't.
Keep publicizing. Keep letting your voices heard. Keep airing your frustrations. And to fans, the best way to stand up to this company, listen, you're frustrated. Okay, I understand that people in my position, people in JD's position, understand that people like us have to stick with this because y'all ask us to report on this. Y'all ask us to talk about this. I get that. But to you guys, turn around, walk away. That's the best way to be heard.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Hit them
You, the
right
fans,
there.
have more power than what you think.
You want to hit them?
you, the fans,
You want the
it'd be-
company to improve?
Hey.
Hit them in the pocket.
Absolutely. And I see a lot of fans are doing that already. Look at the ratings.
Oh yeah.
Look at the attendance.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the exposure of AEW paraphernalia.
Mm-hmm.
Or once upon a time New Japan paraphernalia. Wasn't there somebody at a WWE event with a Bullet Club shirt?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that. The fans have spoken. People have spoken. The paradigm has shifted.
So stand up.
Tide has turned.
Stand up. And you know what? Eventually,
Stand up!
eventually,
Stand up!
may not be now, may not be soon, but eventually, he'll break. They all do.
He's already breaking. Listen, shh, you hear that?
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, who wants to usher us out, man? No?
Take it
Ladies
away,
and gentlemen, as soon as he said that, I started doing it. That's funny.
Okay.
Thank you so much for tuning in to us. If you are going to tune in to us later, thank you so much for that as well. You can find all our Twitter, Facebook links down below, and SoundCloud to my two colleagues. You can find that down below in the description. Please subscribe, hit the bell, make sure you thumbs up the video. Leave us comments, you guys. We won't bite. We promise. And thanks for listening and watching.
That's right. That's right. And have a blessed weekend, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Whatever you do.
That's
Be
right.
safe out there.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? Hopefully the days ahead will be beautiful, nice and sunny, great weather where you could go out, have yourselves a nice picnic, you know. If you guys are drinkers, grab a beer or two. Or if you guys are on the lemonade side of things, you know, grab some nice lemonade, you know, with some awesome squozen lemons or orange juice.
Yeah. Or lime. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or orange juice.
If you
Orange
can-
squoze and orange juice is good, man.
Yeah.
Or if you can barbecue, do that too.
That's right.
Hey, whatever you feel like doing, man. And be safe. If you're going to drink responsibly, please. Get yourself a designated driver, have an Uber or whatever. Don't drive home. Don't get behind the wheel.
That's right.
That's right. Don't do that. That's bad.
But in everything that you do, and even if a phone happens to ring, again,
What?
wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, okay. Well, in everything you do, guys, be safe, be blessed, and keep God number one in your lives. When?
Amen.
When?
Always.
Thank you.
Always.
All
Oh, wait,
right.
we were supposed to
Join
answer
us
that?
on Tuesday,
Yes.
y'all. Join us on Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yes, keep God number one in your lives always. For ENT Hooligans, I am Baby Moy. He's Big Ness. She's Lil Crystal. We out, folks. Bye-bye, and see ya.
God bless y'all.
I was waiting for that.